Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. The fifth Cairo Water Week have kicked off on Sunday with the participation of a large number of institutions and international organizations and also private sectors and donors. The President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have honored the inauguration session of the conference by delivering a recorded speech during the conference, and the conference is held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us our dear guest, Dr. Abdel Fattah Badr, Professor of Environmental Studies, Faculty of Science, Helwan University, and Chairman of Environmental Research Council at the Academy of Science. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, Doctor, could you give us your insight concerning the importance? This is the fifth edition of the conference.
The conference, yes.
Yes.
Yes, this fifth conference comes at a very critical time.
Yes.
Because Egypt is actually organizing and the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh next year. And water is a very important matter
issue
to Egypt, of course. And
it's
this
a matter
conference,
of life for Egypt, yes.
This conference has actually 5 specific themes.
Yes.
The first is water security and climate change.
Yes.
The second is protecting the deltas. You know, our delta is exposed to seawater rising as a result of the climate change, and parts of the delta is expected to be covered by seawater. Yes. This is a serious matter, and so it's one of the themes of the conference.
Yes.
The third theme is water-related adaptations to climate change, how to adapt our water use to climate change. And the fourth is water and climate change and future cooperation between other countries. Cooperation is very important to Egypt, of course, because the source of our water is not in Egypt. Yes. So we need cooperation with Ethiopia and the other River Nile Basin countries. And the fifth is the climate water related diseases, preparation and management. Yes. These are the 5 themes of the conference. Of course, the conference also includes other activities like competition for the best graduation projects for graduates of science colleges and engineering.
Yes.
You know, the students in these colleges have what they call graduation projects. These are inventions, are proposals to deal with water problems.
Yes.
It would also include national water conservation competitions for farmers. So farmers are also participating in the conference by selecting the farmer who actually use water use most efficiently in his fields, which is very important idea actually. They also include the young water inventor and the 3 minutes competition, who will explain his ideas in 3 minutes. These are associated activities with the major themes of the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Doctor, this year's event is bringing together policy makers, diplomats, representatives of the UN agencies, also regional organizations, financial institutions and donors, water experts, also public and private institutions also are taking part. All these parties are discussing the key policies and strategies in order to provide some agenda or plans to counter the climate water challenge.
Yes, actually, the conference is under the umbrella or the title "Water in the Heart of Climate Action." Water in the heart of climate action, as presented by the Egyptian Ministry of Water, they will negotiate impacts of climate change, extreme heat, extreme rising sea level, increased groundwater problems. These we cannot only discuss ourselves. We need regional participation, we need worldwide participation. That's why others are invited. We also need different sections of the society, not only experts, but we need also private sectors, because agricultural expansion will be done by private sector, so we need the participation of the private sector. This fifth round of Cairo Water Week is most successful. That is natural, because they have experience from the the four previous rounds.
Editions,
but this has more interest, have more attention, because it is connected to the climate change, and Egypt is organizing the climate change next month.
So this conference, actually, the timing of this conference, which precedes as Egypt is preparing to host the
COP27.
The COP27, which is going to take place in November in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, the green city of Sharm el-Sheikh, actually, now, and it is going to start from the 6th until the 18th. So the timing of this conference, the fifth round of the Water Week, before we start the climate change, how do you see it?
I see it as most suitable, most convenient, and the agenda of the conference also is related to climate change. So, of course, Egypt has a problem with water. First, our water resources is not in our country. Second, our water resources is limited. As the president in his speech said, the share of water is 560 cubic meter per annum for person, which is actually below the average for a normal citizen. So actually we suffer shortage of water, and we know the problems with our water resources and the dams that's been built in Ethiopia. So we need a careful water management. We need new means to conserve water, and to increase what we call water use efficiency. And there is some actions that we probably think of doing this in the future. First is to maintain the water level in the Lake Nasser, because Lake Nasser is the reservoir for our water, so we need to keep the level safe. The second is to increase water storage capacity, to find other ways to store water, the rainwater or flooding water. We just don't let it go in the sea. We need ways and means to conserve it and to keep it and store it for future, and to improve the irrigation and the drainage system. Of course, we now do what they call canal lining by bricks and cement to minimize the absorption of water into the soil, and to use the minimum amount of water required for our crops. Other things we can do to change the cropping pattern of our agriculture to save water, and to develop agricultural crops that can use a minimum amount of water, that can adapt to water shortage and drought tolerance. This is important topic which many people, many scientists, including myself, are involved in developing plants and the crop varieties that can withstand the drought stress. We can also increase water resources through projects. We can cooperate with the Nile Basin countries to ensure our water supply from the River Nile for longer term. And also we can do water desalination from the sea. We can do water recycling. Of course, we use wastewater for re-irrigation again. Agricultural research water, we recycle this and we use for cultivating new seeds. We also need to raise the public awareness about water, public awareness is very important to save water, not only in the fields, also in houses and in swimming.
This is a very important point, of course.
Important point. So these are probably some of the points. This is known to the ministry and known to the people. It should also be known to the public, because public will take part in management of water use efficiency.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Doctor, you've just mentioned at the start of our interview the 5 themes that are discussed
Yes, yes,
during.
yes.
Yes, could you shed more light on each point specific?
Oh, yes. The
Yes, in
first is
details, I mean.
photo. The first is water security and climate change.
Yeah.
Security means ensuring that water supply is available, sufficient for our life and our agriculture and so on.
Yes.
These need better management, to be better negotiation, need policy, need policy change to conserve water, and the climate change, of course, will cause some consequences regarding water. The first is rising sea level. Rising sea level will cause salinization of the delta. So we need to protect
delta is the second theme.
Delta is the second theme.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yes.
it. So that's another thing is heat will increase evaporation. If evaporation is increased, so we will lose water by evaporation as a result of heat. Some people talk about the raining pattern will change. So we may have some less rain in the future in some parts of the country, and we may have some more rain in the others.
So what are the suggested solutions concerning the delta here in Egypt?
The delta is to protect the delta from the sea by rise. I think there are some actions has been taken and will be taken more to raise the shore of the delta above the sea level, so the sea level cannot submerge the delta. But even if the delta is not submerged, it would be saline, more saline than now. For this, we can develop crops that is salinity tolerant. You know, the harsh environment on plant on crops is called abiotic stresses. Abiotic, that's not caused by biotic factors, but by environment, heat, stress, and salinity. Salinity causes stress similar to heat, because the water is available in the soil, but the plants cannot absorb the water because the soil is saline, and the water cannot move up into the plants. So for this, we can develop and breed plants that is salinity tolerant. So we can make use of the saline water for cultivating new crops. That's one way to deal with the delta problem.
Yes,
there's other ways, of course.
Yes,
the third theme is water-related adaptation to climate change. This is to conserve water, to find other means of securing water, and to store water. This is probably covered.
Yes, in this point, like what Egypt is providing concerning Egypt, the North Coast, for example, the state is planning that the cities or the areas lying on the North Coast area here in Egypt to take its water from the water desalination.
We can use
stations.
Desalination, water recycling, water storage. These are the ways.
I'm just giving an example.
This is what we do, but we need more in the future because we need more water. One major problem facing Egypt is the growing population. The human population of Egypt were 104 million last week. Next year will be 107 million. So we need also to control population. We cannot go on having 3 million every year and we have limited source of water. So this is another matter which is, I would say, related to water, because every person needs water to live. This is another way to adaptation to climate change. Water. Future cooperation, of course. We need to cooperate with the Nile Basin country. We need to have some treaties and some negotiations and some policies with the African countries, with our neighbors, to save our water and to try to increase our share of water coming from the river. We have 45 billion every year, but this is not enough. in the future, we probably need more. We need some agreements, some cooperation, not only with Ethiopia, but with other countries as well.
Yes. Doctor, are there, during the conference, are they going to discuss, for example, a special country that they consider as a role model concerning this point of saving water, or
well, there is no role model, because I would say Egypt can be a role model in some parts. We need to change from irrigation by submersion to modern ways of irrigation, dripping irrigation,
yes,
spraying water. So we need to use what they call smart agriculture. Smart agriculture to find ways to provide the water needed to plants,
yes,
not to irrigate with much water and to waste the rest of the water, but to use modern agriculture. I think in the new reclaimed land, we use modern ways of agriculture. We can also use some big projects that has been done to use glass houses or greenhouses,
yes,
for that to use small space and intensive agriculture in this space to increase the productivity of the plants.
yes. Doctor, with over 1,000 participants taking
Yes.
place in the conference from 70 countries and 66 international organizations that are taking place or participating in the event, what do we expect would be the recommendations or the outcome of this conference?
The recommendation would answer the fifth themes. It would be cooperation, it would be negotiation, it would be new policies to conserve water. It would be a recommendation for the COP27, because COP27 will again discuss matters related to water shortage, and the water shortage is international problem. It is not only in Egypt, it is in the Middle East as a region. So the region of the Middle East and Africa need to cooperate to conserve and to save and adapt to water stress.
Yes. Doctor, what would be the effect of the climate change on water resources or the flow of the rivers?
I think it would not affect the Nile very much, because the expectations is not pessimistic.
Yes.
But we still need to negotiate to ensure that there was some time flooding and there was some time less water. Even this is known from the story of Sayyidina Yusuf, 7 years of famine and 7 years of flooding. Climate change is not a new phenomenon. Climate change has been taking place across time since the earth has started life. But it comes and goes. Climate change this year is apparent because we know the reasons why climate change is taking place.
Yes.
But some years we may have flood. We keep this in Lake Nasser, and some years the water will be less, and that's why the first suggestion is to maintain the water level at Lake Nasser, because maintaining water level at Lake Nasser is safeguarding the water supply for some years.
Yes. Doctor, how do you see or evaluate the efforts that are exerted by the Egyptian state in order to overcome the repercussions of the climate change?
Egypt is one of the leading countries in environmental activities, including water use efficiently, and also our agriculture is clever in using a small land available for agriculture for high production in this. And Egypt is cooperating with other countries even as well. We have a desert, the oldest desert institute in the Middle East.
Yes.
We have institutions who have capacity to deal with the problem. Probably we need some more efforts. We need to cooperation with some to acquire more technologies. We can actually develop our own technology to conserve our water and to run it, to use it for our agriculture.
Yes.
So I'm sure Egypt is qualified and will give experience to others as well. Egyptians have been helping others for many years in environmental studies and in agriculture science as well.
Yes. Doctor, why would Africa suffer from or have challenges concerning the climate change, despite that Egypt and the African continent is rich, which is with natural resources?
Yes.
Why is there still a problem, despite being rich with natural resources?
Yes, they need knowledge, they need technology. The problem is that the countries in Africa who are rich in natural resources, of course, not all countries are rich in natural resources, but generally Africa is rich in natural resources.
Yes.
But we still have water shortage, not only in Egypt. In Somalia, there is some famine now. So other parts of Africa also suffer drought and water shortage. But the African countries and what they call developing countries need knowledge and they need technology. People talk of technology transfer, which is essential, and the developed countries should help others by providing the technology transfer. And because climate change actually is caused by the emissions by the industrialized countries, so the industrialized countries should pay for climate change repair, for actions to deal with climate change. So it is the responsibility of the industrialized countries to cover the costs for repairing climate change. And of these, not only by paying money, but transferring technology and transferring knowledge. And another more important is for African countries and developing countries to develop their own technology and to find their own means and ways to deal with their own problems. The developing countries should not always be developing countries. One time should come where we move from the developing countries to develop the countries, and we can have our technology and we can solve our problems, but we still anyway need to cooperate with others, because the climate change is not a local problem, it is an international problem, and it has to be dealt in international cooperation and regional cooperation as well.
Yes. Doctor, how would the fifth Water Week, Cairo Water Week, would provide success to the COP27 that we are about to host?
Yes, it provides important information for discussion, not only for scientists, for policymakers, for politicians, for negotiation. It would provide knowledge for the future. So that's the importance of it is essential preparation for important topic of climate change, particularly topics related to water. And water, of course, will cause drought, salinity, all these matters, all cause or consequences of climate change is actually connected to water. So water is a correct entrance to climate change. That is why organizing the conference this week in Egypt is a very brilliant idea.
Yes. Thank you so much for your valuable information. I really had the honor to host you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in your show.
Thank you. It's my honor. Thank you so much, Dr. Abdel Fattah Badr, Professor of Genetics and Biodiversity, Faculty of Science, Helwan University, Chairman of Environmental Research Council at Academy of Science. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for following me in this segment. My name is Amal Mukhtar. I leave you with the rest of the segments of The Breakfast Show with my colleague Mahisti Rabia.